Hey y'all, I'm Sarah. Welcome to Widow Wit and Wisdom, a place where I share all things widowhood, grief, and getting through life in general with a little more grace and guts, hopefully. Now, a quick warning about this channel and me in particular. I speak my mind and opinions on subjects that make people uncomfortable and clutch their pearls, okay? So please don't be surprised if you are triggered in some way. But these are my thoughts and opinions, and I'm always willing to learn. But let's please all try to learn in a constructive way. So today, I thought I'd share with you the poem If and break it down in the way that I use it to help keep me strong. If you watched my Runner's Voice episode, you heard me read it there first, but today I wanted to break it down and explain just why this poem has been such a pivotal part of my life and especially brought so much more power and perspective to my widowhood and grief. In the hard times, I pull this one out and I read it and I go through my practice. So I was first introduced to this poem in middle school when I had to memorize it for an English class. Now, while most people chose The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, I, at my grandfather's urging, chose to do If by Rudyard Kipling. And I'm so grateful that I chose the road no one else did. Ha, see what I did there? Now, my grandfather not only helped me to memorize it, which made a great memory for me, but he broke it down and explained it in a manner that only the old with life under their belts and time on their hands can. And it stuck with me for the rest of my life. Well, I've always loved this poem, and it did become a big part of my runner's voice. It is in my widowhood that I have truly felt and understood and leaned on every line and verse in this poem. So today, I'd like to share with you If by Rudyard Kipling, and then break it down like my grandfather so lovingly did for me into the lessons to live by that I try to use, especially when I'm really struggling. Perhaps when life is in chaos, it can become the whisper in your heart the way it has mine and help us all get through life with a little more strength, resilience, and grace, maybe. So it's really one to live by. Buckle up, buttercups, because here's If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more? You'll be a man, my son. Whew, again, that was If by Rudyard Kipling. So my grandfather helped me memorize that by breaking it down, just explaining it to me in his way. Now, when I picked it up again as a widow and really started to lean into it, I made my own notes that I now lean on. So I thought I would share that breakdown of notes with you, how I use it. So here we go. The first two lines are, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming you. It is not easy, first of all, to keep it together when chaos hits at all ever. We're people, we panic, okay? But to also have blame, shame, judgment added to that, it becomes literally the perfect storm of panic, fear, anger, and more. If I lose it and strike back, it usually leads to more damage. I have to choose to keep my shit together, which is not easy, and get through it as best I can, calmly. It is not easy, though. It is not easy to not be reactive, let me tell you. The next two lines are, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. This is, as my grandfather explained it, trust your gut, but respect the doubts too. Don't just dismiss the doubts and doubters. Instead, be curious about them. Hear what they have to say. Look at their doubts. Study them. Understand them. Then trust yourself to make an informed choice and go with your gut. The next line is, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting. Patience is hard, especially for me. When you are waiting on the pain and the chaos and the grief to stop or praying for miracles to happen, it can be hard to wait and not become hopeless and lose faith. Waiting and believing are hard and take a lot of faith. This is the line that reminds me to pray and be patient in my waiting. That if I can lean into my faith, I can wait. The next line is, or being hated, don't give way to hating. Being hated and not giving way to it is hard. It hurts when people hate me, and it makes me anxious and unsure of myself and of the whole world. It's hard not to give way to the hating, but hate equals more pain. And who needs that? I've had plenty pain. I don't need any more. I go by, haters gonna hate, but I don't have to. I'm not wasting my energy on hating. I can feel their hate for me, and I can feel the hurt around that, but I will move on. Hate me, but I'm not going to waste my time hating you back. The next line is, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. This one, as my grandfather also explained it, and is still fitting to this day, as no one likes to show off or know it all. It's okay to know it all, but you don't need to tell everybody you know it all. And you don't need to make others feel stupid with your knowledge, even if you think you know more than they do. Instead, be curious about their perspectives, about what they've gone through, what they've learned, and learn something from it myself. The next lines are, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim. Our dreams and goals drive us to do better, be better, go for things, do things, but they can also crush us. When they don't work out as we thought they would, or worse, they do and then shatter, it can be a killer. Trust me, I know. Our ability to think and not let thoughts become overwhelming and damaging, especially when our dreams are shattered, is hard. I have to have dreams and I have to think. But I have to let those things be fluid and change and be okay with the dreams changing. And I have to make the thoughts followed by action. The next two lines are, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. I love that Kipling calls triumph and disaster imposters. They are. It's so true. Neither one lasts. Neither one is real. And sometimes what we perceive as a triumph can actually be a disaster. And what we think is a disaster can turn into the best blessing. I have to learn and grow from both. I will have many of both in life and have. So I got to take them as they come, learn from them, and keep growing and going. The next two lines are, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. One of my favorite lines to think about when I hear people talking about somebody or gossiping or saying something about me or twisting things that have happened or I've said or done. People will interpret your words based on their thoughts, feelings, and perspectives. And then they will turn others against you using their interpretation and agenda. Let them talk. If they care to know the truth and it matters, then come to me and ask. I'm happy to discuss it. I stand strong in my truth, my beliefs, and my boundaries. Therefore, it does not hurt me when you try to twist my words or take them out of context. The next two lines are, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. That sums up widowhood, doesn't it? In a nutshell, resilience defined. You'll lose everything. You keep going anyway. It's not easy to lose everything for your whole life and world and heart and mind to shatter and have to start over again, especially with worn out, broken tools or missing ones. Picking up what's left and trying to piece it together sucks and it's exhausting. The dreams are gone and there's no new ones on the horizon. But I have got to find the way and gather the tools up that I do have and gather new ones and just keep going. The next four lines are, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. It goes with that trust your gut line, but this is the consequences of that choice. What happens when we take that gamble and lose? Do we cry about it, wail about it, blame ourselves, blame others, break down, or do we take responsibility, say, yes, I made that bad choice. I did that. I fucked up, and go forward and learn something from it and make wiser choices going forward. That's what I'm going to do. The next four lines are the ones I truly use the most, especially in the darkness. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone. And so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. When I am down on my knees in the pit, bleeding and broken and in that darkness, this is what I'm doing. I find the will to hold on, to stay. When the pain and grief and panic and fear are unbearable is so hard. And I find myself closing my eyes and quite literally force my heart and nerve and sinew to hold on. It isn't easy. It is a practice. It is something I must do in those moments. But I know that if I hold on and I push through it, it will ease up eventually. The next two lines are, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch. My grandfather always said, just don't get too big for your britches, darling. You don't have to fall into the mob mentality, especially to please others or be accepted. I choose to keep my boundaries and beliefs intact in spite of others. I don't have to meet hate with hate, anger with anger, blame with blame. I just don't. The next line is, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you. That one can be hard. Don't let the hate or love of others sink you. Our enemies' words and actions can sting, but our loved ones and friends' actions and words can gut us. Don't give it more weight than it deserves. I have to be confident in me, even without them. The next line is, if all men count with you, but none too much. This one to me is just, like my grandfather said, staring into the sunshine will blind you. You need the doubters too. They bring the shade and the honesty. You don't want everyone to just agree with you all the time, okay? That would just be too easy. The last four lines are, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. This one to me says, if I can get through the shit, even for 60 seconds and have progress, it is resilience and I have won. If I can get through this pain and hold on, it'll get better. I will have learned something. And if I can do it with grace and strength and resilience, I will be much happier and much more successful. So that was my breakdown and what I use when I'm in a hard place. But that was my breakdown of the poem If. So now I wanted to once again share the poem If by Rudyard Kipling with you so that you can see what you take away from it. What do you feel from it? What do you resonate with when you hear it? So here we go again with If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watched the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So I hope that poem helps you in some way too. If it resonated with you in any way, let me know in the comments or an email. And also, if you have any poems, books, passages, or words of wisdom that help you, I'd love to hear them. I'm always looking to gain further understanding, perspective, and knowledge to get through grief, widowhood, and just life in general, let's face it. So drop me a comment or an email at widowwitandwisdom@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you enjoyed this, please hit all the buttons. Subscribe, comment, especially share it. Share it with anyone who may need a little ray of light in their darkness and some inspiration to hold on when their world is falling apart, because it's not easy to do it, especially alone. So, that's today's episode of Widow Wit and Wisdom. I'm Sarah, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to be the light in somebody's day, even if it's your own.